here with UFC welterweight champion Belal Muhammad. I often introduce you as top welterweight contender. How's it feel to be introduced as UFC welterweight champion?
It's cool, and I'm starting to get that from all my the friends and all the guys from the UFC stats. Like, hey, what's up, champ? What's up, champ? I was gonna keep calling you champ, but I was like, all right, feels good that like people respect me now. Not respect me now, but like put that respect on my name.
Right, and obviously I was just in Manchester for the fight. You told me in the lead up, this isn't going to be really enemy territory. You said, you have a lot of fans there. We saw the parade after the celebration. What was that like? What was that feeling like? Because the whole narrative to this was Bilal's going to enemy territory. How's he going to handle that? They gave you some booze, but afterwards to see that when you're celebrating, how did that feel?
It was amazing. It was literally like a second home to us. The people that we met there that took care of us, gave us all those nice cards and everything. They were the best, and they made everything the best for me, my team, my family. It was epic. And then just seeing the fans there, even before the fight, we went to one of the small gyms over there. We had a crazy ovation there. Met a lot of the Muslim community there, so that was always amazing. And then like you said, you're gonna have the fans that are gonna boo you and all this other stuff, but like to be able to close down one of their busiest streets and have a parade there, like, it didn't get any better than that.
You were so calm during fight week. Like I was just looking at you through all the media obligations, all that stuff. You were so calm. Is this the calmest you've ever been leading up to a fight, or is this the usual? Like it just didn't feel like. It almost felt like your UFC debut or like a regular fight. Like you were just very calm throughout all the fight week.
Yeah, people could ask me that, right?
Yeah.
And it did feel different, but I think it was more so because there wasn't the stress of like, I need to win this to get the opportunity to fight for the title. Everything was I got to fight for the title. I got to get this shot. I got to get this shot. And then finally, once we got the shot, it was like, that was the sense of relief. We finally earned our shot. They gave it to us. It took us forever to get it. It's here now. And then now there's nothing else to be afraid of. This was our moment, Super Bowl. So like having my team, my coaches, they're all, bro, this is the journey you wanted. This is the moment you wanted. So now just go out there and shine. And yeah, there was like no pressure, no stress at all. The back, we were just chilling. And then even like right before we walked out, it was the demi-fall scene started. And then the guy was like, we're walking in 30 seconds. I'm like, bro, it's not that long of a song. It's starting right now. But yeah, it couldn't have gone any better.
The fans were singing with the song. Did you notice that?
Yeah. My brothers, everybody was like, oh, it went crazy out there. The fans loved it. And like whenever that song comes on, everybody knows it. And I think that if you know it, just gets you riled up. Kind of like I want it to be like the next like Darren Till song when they go there, and it happens like that anywhere I go.
242 was the first time, UFC 242 was the first time you came out to that song, right?
Yeah,
I remember that. And I talked about your calmness. You're also very confident, and a lot of people commented on that. The clip I had when I talked to you and you walked me through what you were gonna do to him, that resurfaced. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That resurfaced again on fight week, and they're like, "Man, Bilal's putting a lot of pressure on himself because if this doesn't go well, like this clip is either gonna be the greatest clip or everyone's gonna keep playing that back." Now it's one of the greatest clips. So yeah, I mean, talk to me a little bit about that confidence. Was it about your preparation or more about the stylistic matchup that you just saw that happening?
It was a little bit of both because we prepared so hard for it. This is like the hardest I ever worked on, best I ever felt. And even like we had no stone left unturned. Like even I brought my nutritionist from Bali 6 weeks earlier. I never do that. It's always like 1 week, 2 weeks. So every one of my sessions, I was able to go that much harder because he's fueling me with the right food every single time. So shout out to Ian Larios. And there was not a practice where I didn't feel great. There was not a session where I didn't go, balls to the wall on every single session. And then the way we broke him down, we had a year to break this guy down. I've been thinking about him for the last 3 years. So people looked at my last fight before that and they were like, oh, he didn't look as good a shape as he looked in. I was like, bro, that was a 3-week notice fight during Ramadan fighting Gilbert Burns. And we were just like basically off the couch. And now you see me. And I told them that you're going to give me 8 weeks to fight a guy. I'm going to break him down and make it look easy. So, yeah, that was the best part is that when I said all that stuff and people were like, even myself, I'm like, man, Twitter world's going to go nuts and kill me if I lose this fight. But I was like, it doesn't really matter, right? Because regardless, they're going to hate anyway. So I said, you know what? I'll just put that extra pressure on myself.
What do you think about all those steroid comments?
It's exactly.
Right?
I was getting them, and I was like, it feels good because people are looking at you like, man, this is when they say, oh, you're 36 years old, you start getting older. But I like literally felt the best I ever felt. And then I was just showing it to Ian, and I was like, bro, you're the secret sauce. Ian's the secret sauce. But I'm like, when you're eating the best meals, you're eating all the right stuff, like 90% of the way you look is way you feel is nutrition. And I have a nutritionist with me at my side every single time, feeding me and giving me the right stuff. So I was like, bro, I'll take the compliments.
You need secret juice, the real secret juice.
Yeah.
And about the fight itself, obviously I talked to you about it in the post-fight press conference, minus those late reversals. What would you kind of, is that getting a little too comfortable? What would you describe kind of went wrong in those times where he reversed you towards the end of the fight? And
he was just, he has a weird body type. So even when that third round, it was just super slippery. So like we were still on it, took him down, had his back a little bit, and he just slid through. And I was like, oh. And then he's very good at taking the back and then holding it because he has longer legs. So in that third round, it was more so just like, I don't want to do anything crazy where he could come on top, give me with elbows. So I'm like, if he's really just going to hold the back position, I was like, whatever. I still got 2 more rounds. And then the 5th round, it was just trying to make the adjustments to get the choke. But he's a cheater, and he was grabbing inside the gloves, pulling little things, and he ended up like spinning on top. But that does nothing but like let me know that I still have more things to work on, better things to get better at. My coach Lou is like, you wouldn't have that cut on your nose if you didn't let your foot off the gas for that 1 second. And for me, it's just keeping that mentality of we're still got to grow, we still got to get better. It was a dominant win, but it could have been more dominant.
And you've been pulling out all the receipts, I've noticed. Kamaru Usman, Demetrius Johnson, even Alexander Volkanovski going at it. Is that kind of like satisfying to go back to like, how does it feel? Like, do you remember all these things, like these things that people have been saying, and you're like, all right, I told you so?
And more so now because they never brought up my name before, right? When Usman was champion, they never brought up my name. When, Demetrius Johnson, all these guys, they act like they didn't know who I was. Now you know who I am. Now you're going to have to watch tape on me and figure out what I am. And then even when, like, Izzy was his breakdown at the end, because he picked Leon before the fight, but he was during his watch party, he was like, oh, man, I love this guy. This guy's good. He's a beast. So it's always cool when you have, like, champions that look at you and watch you. But, it's always funny when these so-called experts did their breakdown beforehand. Like, oh, man, he sucks here. He's slow here. His stand-up is sucks here. Leon's going to pick him apart super easily. And I was like, all right, we'll find out. We'll see. Keep that same energy after the fight.
So you're not going to fight Volkanovski?
His is weird, right? Because we had the watch party. It was the UFC watch party. And then the UFC lady was like, we have other watch parties, so we could call one of them. And it was like Bobby Green. We called him, FaceTimed him for the watch party. He was like smoking weed and stuff. And so they were like, we have Wonder Boy and Volkanovski. And I just like fought Wonder Boy. So I said, let me call Volkanovski. And he called and he like ignored the call. So I just like tweeted out like, oh, Max Holloway won. You suck, Volk. And then he like ended up calling back. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up, Volk? Hey, man, just forget about Twitter, man. It was just joking around. But it was all a joke and fun. Yeah. But the guy's weird. But I'm like, bro, if he wants to smoke, what is he, 5'1" welterweight? Come up.
And I'm sure you've heard Colby Covington's comments. Interesting thing he said. He said, Belal's never mentioned my name until I was booked to fight Leon. I remember 2017. Where was it? Where did he fight? Somewhere abroad.
I was in Australia.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I was in Australia when he got hit with the boomerang.
Okay. And, so what do you think of Colby Covington and his comments?
He's a joke, right? Like literally everything he says is a joke. What is he? It's 0-3 in title fights. All I needed was one time to do it. You'll never touch the gold. You'll never be who I am. And just keep talking, bro. Just keep that. You said keep that same energy when I see you, please. I beg you, let me see you. I beg you, let me see you in public. Because, bro, unless he like actually fights any of these other guys, he's not gonna get another shot. But I mean, I hope he goes on a good run, beats some of these contenders, and figures a way out to fight me in the cage. But I mean, all you gotta do is find me at a steakhouse, and we'll see if you keep that same energy.
And I know you and Kamaru Usman have been going back and forth. Now, you have goals of becoming the greatest welterweight of all time. Kamaru is considered one of the greats, but he's also on a 3-fight losing streak. So it's tough. I guess it's a tough sell for him to be a next contender. I know we've got Shavkat, and you said you're down to fight him. But is Kamaru someone you hope you get to fight down the line? Like maybe if he rebounds and wins his next fight?
For sure. I mean, and I think, didn't Colby get a title fight off of 2 losses or off of a loss? I mean, for Kamaru, he's up there with GSP, right? Even Dana White says I think he's a better welterweight than GSP. So for my legacy, for my name, he was always a guy that I looked at and I always thought I could beat before Leon did it. And I was like, I want to fight him. I want to fight him. So I mean, it's fun because he's giving you that smoke back and forth too. And I like build-ups like that. So it's always cool. But yeah, of course, if he ended up getting back in the mix or just name just thrown at me, I would never turn it down because he is up there with the greatest welterweights. And for myself, building my legacy to beat the GSP and be right next to him or even above him, I'd have to beat him, Shavkat, and Ian Gary, JDM. Like, I'm ready to fight all these guys. There's not a guy that I ever turn on a fight with. And the UFC knows that.
And I know, I'm sure you would have loved to fight in Abu Dhabi. They just announced the card. I don't know if you saw it. So
Yeah, I just saw it. Literally, I woke up and he's like, yeah, they snatched somebody right now.
Yeah, too soon. I mean, it'd be a little bit crazy if people expected you to turn around. It would have been cool. I get it. But you said probably December, or are you not really putting a timeline? You just came out of the fight.
Yeah, literally, I touched my nose and it like, I was like, I think it's still broken. And Lou's like, we got here and like the energy we got is like, man, maybe we should fight it up October. But it was, yeah, it's going to be way too soon. By the time we get back home and get healed up, it'll be like, all right, we got to get right back into camp. But like I said, for me now, I think December would be perfect. But whenever the UFC calls, we're going to be ready to go. And we're not going to be one of those that, oh, I need a year off. Hold up. Let's see. Have these two guys fight, and I'll see who's going to fight me. There's not a lot of contenders that deserve it or earn this title fight. I'm ready. Just point them out.
It seems like Shavkat is kind of the name that everyone's throwing. Do you see anybody else in the rankings that it could be? Do you think it's going to be Shavkat, or do you imagine that it could be somebody else?
No, I mean, I see it being Shavkat. I think if he would have fought JDM, he would have been like 100% clear contender. But I think the fact that they were almost close to booking him and JDM, that people were hesitant on it. But I think for me, he's the boogeyman that they all say is the next guy. And I think between all the guys, it'd be between him and honestly Usman, just because of Usman's legacy and who he is as one of the welterweight best. But yeah, for me, Dana just got to call me and let me know, and I'm just gonna say, all right, cool.
And a couple more from you, and I appreciate your time. I don't know if you heard the comments of Leon's coach. I know you've been going back and forth with him. It seems like your rivalry is more with him than Leon himself, but he was talking about how Leon had a back injury. What do you think of his comments?
He's a joke. Like I said, he was a joke before the fight as a coach, and he's a joke after the fight. And it's funny that they all have like different excuses. Leon was, oh man, I couldn't sleep. Now his coach came out with, oh my back, his back was hurting. Like, get on the same page. If you're gonna come up with an excuse, like talk to each other at least beforehand. Say, oh bro, we were on the way to the arena and Leon got jumped by somebody, by ninjas or something like that. It's like they're trying to figure it out, but we had the perfect blueprint to beat him up. It was Bully's blueprint, not Usman's. And I said it was gonna be easy. I made it look easy. He wouldn't be comfortable in the cage with me, and I knew it was gonna look like that. So we see it like that. We knew how it was gonna end up. And I knew he was going to come up with excuses. So I was just waiting to hear what they were. So I didn't even, like, when his coach talks, Leon doesn't even listen. So I'm hoping the world doesn't listen.
And one final one, I know Islam Makhachev joked, he's like, you killed his double champ plans. I know you guys probably won't fight each other, but when you see that, I mean, obviously you and Islam, like, you've trained together. He's talking about being a little bit bored, maybe because he doesn't want to rematch Arman Tsarukyan. What do you think should be next for Islam Makhachev? Because Arman seems like the clear-cut contender, right?
Yeah.
And he said, he acknowledges that. But what do you think should be next for Islam? And when you think about your run, like I mentioned the big names, the Colbys, the Kamarus, I'm sure those are tempting. But you also said you want to be kind of an active champion and fight all the next contenders. So
Yeah.
do you think about it now that you are champion? Do you think about, okay, these are big money fights? Like, what's your mentality going?
Yeah, you look at that and you see it, but honestly, like the big money fights that are in the division, they're all lost, right? Like Colby sucks. Usman, like he's at a point now where he's 0-3, and but he just needs, I think, one win, and people respect him getting a title shot or expect him to get the title shot off of that. But other than that, it's like if McGregor goes to 170 after beating Chandler, there's not really that big money fight that you would think about, but there is the legacy fights, right? The guys. All right, if I take Shavkat, if I take Ian Gary's, I take JDM undefeated in the UFC. So all those guys got O's I could take, and those are going to be worth it for myself. But yeah, I mean, for Islam, it is hard, right? Because obviously, I think he would have walked through Leon as well. But like I also said, I think he walks through Duplessis. He could literally go up to 185, and I think he'll walk through him. But the Arman fight makes the most sense right now for him. The hard part is what's next after that, like you said, because Poirier's he just beat Poirier. I mean Chandler and McGregor, one of them guys get that win. If he ends up McGregor ends up winning and fighting him, that'd be a huge fight, right? And that'd be a big money fight for him,
Yeah.
and that'd be a fun fight. But there's stuff always ends up happening, right? There's going to be that guy that ends up popping out through the mix, and you're like, oh well, that makes sense now.
Right, right. Well, Bilal, I appreciate you catching up with me. Thank you so much for the time. Congratulations again on the win. I was taking a look at your family the whole time while they were watching. I wanted to see their reaction, but I'm sure it was amazing to have your father there. I believe this is only second time, right? He watches you
Yeah,
fight.
he's only went to one fight before that. This is the second time, and we brought him out here, so it was amazing for him to come in there, be in the cage. He kept my brother's like, bro, he literally kept trying to hug Bruce Buffer the whole night. I was like, no way. He's like, yeah. And then like the night before that, we were like talking with John Anik, and he was like talking to him for like an hour and like trying to give him advice. Like, oh, you should say this. I'm like, Pop, stop.
Well, I'm sure it was amazing to have your whole family witness this amazing journey, and your coach, Lou Taylor, who very cool because he's gone through an underdog story himself, right? Winning the $1 million, and now he gets to coach you through an underdog story. So can only imagine how proud he is, and just the connection that you've had. I know Habib is very important to you as well, but people don't give Lou Taylor enough credit, and he's been with you from the start. He's believed in you from the start.
Yeah, 100%. My biggest thing is I've always tried to follow his footsteps. He's been my guide through everything. And even when we were waiting this year and like calling him up, bro, they're not trying to give me this title fight. They're doing this. You're talking about this. And he's like, bro, chill. Enjoy the journey. Look what happened with me. It's gonna happen the same way for you. It happened my moment was my last moment, and it was my best moment. Your moment, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. So seeing his career path and the way it happened, and how blessed it was at the end, and how blessed it ended up being for me, it's like this chapter was a blessing, but we still got plenty more chapters to go and plenty of more journey to go. So I'm excited to see how it ends up, right? Because his stop once he got the belt. Now we're going to continue mine on after that, and continue just building up and being the best welterweight to ever do it.
Oh, looking forward to it. Bilal, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
Congratulations again, and we'll look forward to your next one.
Appreciate you.